question. If the event were to happen, were you expecting a large crowd? Or
Yes. There was a lot of supporters, especially in Mississauga. I mean, from different cities, they wanted to come. Lots of organizations were on board to come, and they were hurt that it was canceled. But I canceled it for the safety and security of the city, and to deal with this insecurity issue for the food and so on. And I didn't want any violence and problems to happen here that could damage the image of the city and damage the image of the mayor.
I just want to point out, and I'm not being facetious, Nelson Mandela was declared a terrorist by the United States of America till the year 2008. You're a terrorist and somebody else's terrorist may be two different things.
David Menzies for Rebel News here at Celebration Square in Mississauga, Ontario. And folks, the reason why we're here is that originally there was going to be a fake Remembrance Day celebration. I say that because Remembrance Day Classic, as you well know, happens every November 11th. Today is November 26th. And the real Remembrance Day, well, that honors patriots, the war dead, the veterans. This Remembrance Day, I kid you not, was going to honor terrorists, including Hamas mastermind Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind behind the October 7th, 2023 massacre in southern Israel, in which almost 1,200 people were killed and more than 250 were kidnapped. Now, this was being organized by a group called Canadian Defenders for Human Rights. And what got our attention about this, the way it was originally advertised, folks, they were making use of the poppy and the slogan that they appropriated from the Royal Canadian Legion, lest we forget. Can you imagine? To pay homage to terrorists. Well, my cameraman, Lincoln J, and I, we got here about half an hour ago. We were literally just setting up. I didn't even have my mic flash on. And a person approached me to get involved in a conversation. And lo and behold, it was the actual organizer for Canadian Defenders for Human Rights. And that's the thing, given the backlash this grotesque Remembrance Day received, this organization called it off. But he was here, apparently, in case any stragglers came, thinking the event was still on. But I got into a fascinating conversation with this gentleman. Here, let's throw to a few excerpts. There was a Remembrance Day taking place, allegedly.
Yes, 40 days after the martyrdom of the great leader and Palestinian symbol, Yahya Sinwar.
Right, and he's a great leader? Sinwar?
Yes, Sinwar is a great leader, yes.
He was the mastermind of the biggest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust.
It's an occupation. He's fighting against the occupation. He's fighting against international law breaches. He's fighting against the human rights abusers. And he had to break the barriers, and he had to arrest some and get some POWs.
So that justified what happened on October 7, 2023?
Yes, obviously.
How do you respond to those? I mean, you were talking about Canada being stolen land, but this event was advertised by the image of the poppy. A lot of people consider that sacred. It pertains to the patriots, the war dead, the veterans. It was advertised with the Royal Canadian Legion's slogan, "Lest we forget,"
yes.
And I think the Legion might have reached out to you. How do you respond to people that say you have no right appropriating that symbol in that language?
That was revised. We got in contact with the Royal Legion, and we revised that, and we removed the poppies, and we had several emails back and forth, and they approved the flyer after that. They said it was fine as long as you can remove the slogan and the poppies. And we respect the peacekeepers that fought for this country, and we're there to broker peace. Yes.
Okay then. So just to be clear, the event is still canceled, and your appearance here is just to tell those individuals who are coming for this.
That's correct.
Second Remembrance Day. I'm not even sure what exactly the right terminology is. That there is no event, and just to go home. go shopping or go for an ice skate.
Yeah, in the Muslim culture, 40 days after the death of any Muslim, usually we do a commemoration, usually in the mosque or in a Husseiniya or different centers. Yeah.
And this is in terms of Sinwar himself,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not just Sinwar, also Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, also Ismail Haniyeh, also Abbas Nul Farshan, the IRGC commander that was killed with Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah from Iran. It's for the resistance leaders, but we specifically put the picture of Yahya Sinwar.
And would you consider these individuals martyrs, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Great martyrs, not just martyrs.
Okay.
Great martyrs, yes.
And
fought for the liberation of Palestine, to support the people of Palestine, and to stand up against injustice.
And under the rules, because they died in martyrdom, that means they have in the afterlife, I understand, 72 voluptuous black-eyed virgins. Is that correct?
Well, there's some different sayings, and depending on the Islamic sect that they follow, I'm not really sure how many you get compensated with as gifts from God, but that's given to different people on different levels of their piety and their sacrifices in this world. Yeah.
And I guess one last question: if the event were to happen, were you expecting a large crowd? Or
Yes. There was a lot of supporters, especially in Mississauga. I mean, from different cities they wanted to come. Lots of organizations were on board to come, and they were hurt that it was canceled. But I canceled it for the safety and security of the city, and to deal with this insecurity issue for the food and so on. And I didn't want any violence and problems to happen here that could damage the image of the city and damage the image of the mayor.
What is your opinion of what we've seen in our city, our country, in the last 13 months? Jewish businesses, Jewish restaurants, Jewish schools, synagogues being vandalized, firebombed, even shot at in the wee hours of the morning. So often, look what happened in Montreal last weekend. Isn't that a manifestation of violence and vandalism by people who subscribe to your side?
I condemn that. I condemn any attacks and any breaches of the law, because I respect the law. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I respect that. But some of them, I think they could be fabricated. Some of these Israelis are untrustworthy people. Some of these Jewish Zionists, I'm talking about Zionists.
Like a conspiracy?
No, not conspiracy, that they would attack their own places. They'd vandalize their own places and then call in for, calling for a police report and so on, just to cause more tension. This is how the Israelis are. They raise lots of false flags and lies so they can justify crimes.
But like I said, the event is not going on. I see a couple of people walking by with the keffiyeh scarf, but for the most part, this square is very celebratory, living up to its name. I see a Christmas tree illuminated. There's this fantastic skating rink. There's nice music playing. I also do notice a considerable police presence. There are security guards, law enforcement officers from Peel Region Police, I suppose just in case. But obviously, as I said before, the blowback justifiably by Canadians who A, are not in support of terrorists, and B, are mightily pissed off that anyone, especially those supporting terrorists, would appropriate the image of the poppy and the slogan, "Lest we forget." Well, the defenders bent the knee. And you know, Mayor Carolyn Parrish, because she actually went to bat for these people. She said, she even compared Sinwar to Nelson Mandela. Can you imagine that?
But in this case, we have a person who's recognized as a terrorist very widely. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your advice. You're free to do whatever you want. You're free to say whatever you want. I am not. My job is to consult with our lawyers and do exactly what they tell me. So I just want to point out, and I'm not being facetious, Nelson Mandela was declared a terrorist by the United States of America till the year 2008. You're a terrorist and somebody else's terrorist may be two different things. But I am extremely careful, and I do not step out of line, but you're free to do whatever you like and suffer the consequences if there should be any.
And she called a vigil for terrorists with innocent blood on their hands, an example of free speech. Now, Carolyn Parish, in addition to being the mayor, she was a Liberal MP back in the day. She was too radical for the Liberals. They kicked her out of the party. But I wonder where Carolyn Parish stands on the free speech issue. Like, 2 years ago when the Freedom Convoy came into Ottawa and had a genuine peaceful protest in which crime and littering went down in our nation's capital. No. I don't think Mayor Parish is gung-ho with that kind of freedom of speech. Absolutely despicable. In any event, the defenders took to social media to give the rationale why the event was being cancelled. Quote, CD4HR has decided to cancel the November 26th vigil for Sinwar, our Mandela, due to several reasons, primarily the security and safety of our city, Mississauga, end quote. And it was also stated, thanks to the food insecurity issue, apparently some of these pro-terrorist people are going to be, volunteering at food banks. It's absolutely bizarre, folks. And by the way, as we were setting up, a concerned citizen of Mississauga, Sir Guy, he approached us. Here's what he had to say.
Well, how should I say it? I do not like violence. And from what was advertised, that struck me as simply wrong. Like in the central square of Mississauga, right in front of the city hall, commemorating someone who is, from what I know, a recognized terrorist, recognized by Canada, by many other countries, and it is the right of everybody to commemorate anybody, but when done on a central square in front of the city hall, it sends a message. And I just decided that this is a good day to visit the Central Library. We have a nice Central Library and just observe what's going on.
And Sergey, I think it's worse than you frame it, because the mayor of Mississauga, Carolyn Parish, she was so down with this. It was freedom of speech. She actually compared Sinwar, the mastermind of the massacre in southern Israel on October 7th, 2023, to Nelson Mandela. I'm not making this up. She has a history of tweets backing organizations like Hamas. What do you make of that?
I am deeply not okay with that, to say the least.
So there you have it, folks. The event was canceled. There will be no chance for genocide here at this beautiful square tonight. There will be no violence. There will be no vandalism. There will be no martyrs. Folks, if that grotesque celebration did occur, it would be interesting seeing who's who in the zoo. What I'm getting at, how many of the people chanting genocide are not even Canadian citizens? And if that's the case, you know what? Please go to our website, deporthamas.com. That's deporthamas.com. If you aren't even a citizen, if you are a visitor to our great dominion and you're breaking the law and chanting genocide, guess what? Pack your bags. 10 minutes away, that's where Pearson International Airport is. Time to get out of town permanently.